Today, we will continue, we will talk about one of the other applications or other uses of the trigonometric ratios. That's how to find the measure of the angles. If I have two sides which are given, as you see here in the triangle ABC, the length of AB is 12, the length of BC is unknown, and the length of CA is 24. But we know they told me now, I don't want you to find the length of BC. Who can tell me how can we find the length of BC?
We will see the opposite.
Minus 24 and 12.
By what? Which theorem?
Opposite over adjacent.
No, I mean the length of BC.
Pythagorean شو اسمه
Pythagorean theorem.
theorem.
Yeah, if I have two given sides and I want to find the length of the third side, I have to use the Pythagorean theorem. But in this question, they didn't ask me to find BC. They asked me to find the angles. So the Pythagorean theorem cannot help me. To find the angles here, I have to use the one of the trigonometric ratios. I have to find these angles. Now let's find, they told me now to find A, B, and C. Now angle B, it will be a right angle. The measure of angle B is 90 because we are, which is the right angle. Now, I want now to find measure of angle A. Now, all of you look at angle A. What the two given data I have for it? What is the name of the sides I have? For angle A, what is the name of the side?
Adjacent.
It will be the adjacent here. And what is the name of this side?
Opposite.
Hypotenuse. Hypotenuse.
Yes.
So I have the adjacent and I have the opposite, the hypotenuse, sorry. So now let's say that adjacent over hypotenuse. What we called it?
Cosine.
Cosine.
Cosine which angle?
Adjacent
Angle
to
A.
hypotenuse.
Okay. Now let's continue. What is the adjacent here? It's a 12. What is the hypotenuse?
24.
24. Okay. All of us know that. In the previous problem, I told you I have like cosine 30 equals 7 over x as an example. So I have the 7 known, I have the cosine known, but I need to find x. Now look at this one here. But if you come back now here I have the adjacent, here I have the hypotenuse, but I don't have cosine A. What can I do? To solve this type of questions, I need to use something, we call it cosine inverse of A. So before that, let's first find cosine A. Now, after we wrote it here, so we say that cosine A is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So 12 over 24, let's divide them now here. So let's continue as cosine A equals 12 over 24. If you divide them, we get 0.5. Okay? So, say it now that cosine A is 0.5. They didn't ask me to find cosine A. They asked me to find A. So what I have to do, I have to say that A equals cosine inverse of 0.5. What does it mean? Imagine now, before I wrote it, how can I wrote it? Imagine now that cosine A, okay, is 0.5. Imagine that cosine, it's like x times y, as an example. So like if you divide here by cosine, okay, and it's not true, you will not divide, but I told you like how. You will say now A is 0.5 or cosine inverse of 0.5. Or in another example here, like if you multiply both sides by cosine inverse, and here by cosine inverse cancel cosine, so A, it will be cosine inverse of 0.5. So the first step, I find which trigonometric ratio should I have or should I use. I saw that is cosine, and after that I have to use, now after I find the cosine of A, it is 0.5, but I don't want cosine, I want A. I will use something, we called it the inverse of the trigonometric ratios. That I told him cosine inverse of 0.5, it will be the measure of angle A. Type. How to find cosine inverse of 0.5? Now let's go to your calculator here. Now on your calculator, make shift cosine. It will appear for you cosine inverse, shift cosine. Then write 0.5 equal. They told me that the angle measure of angle A is 60 degrees. Did you try it at your calculator?
Yes, teacher, it gave me
Teacher.
cos -1.
I don't have a shift in my calculator. How can I use it in my mobile calculator?
In the mobile calculator. On the Castro calculator, did you know how to make it?
I don't have shift in my calculator.
Okay,
Not
okay.
in the mobile.
But I'm talking about the others.
Yes, teacher, the same answer.
Yes, teacher, it works for
Teacher,
me.
it gave me 0.99.
No, don't say cosine 0.5. Cosine inverse. How to find it? At your calculator, I told you how to open the sine and the cosine. Is it right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you see here on the left, up here you have two arrows like this. If you press on them, you will have cosine inverse. Then write cosine inverse of 0.5. You will find that the measure of angle A is 60 degrees.
Yes, teacher, it became for me to get it.
Yeah. Then after that, so here, as I told you, if I have two sides that are given, that are known, I need to find the measures of the angle. I have to use one of the trigonometric ratios. So which one I have to use? I will see. If I want to find the measure of angle A, I see that I have the adjacent and I have the hypotenuse. Since I have the adjacent and the hypotenuse, that means I have to find the cosine. Now after that, we found that the measure of angle A is 60. The measure of angle B is 90 because I am in the right triangle. Now, they told me here what is the measure of each angle. So I find A. I found A. I found B. I need to find C now. How can I find the measure of angle C? Who can tell me?
Adjacent and opposite.
No.
Hypotenuse and opposite.
No, not by the trigonometric ratios. If I told you that here is 60 and here is 90, how can you find the measure of angle C?
60 minus 90, it will equal 30.
Bravo, yeah, that's mean you have to use the measurements of the, we know that the measurements of the angle of the triangle is 180. All of the angles are 180. So I will say that the measure of angle C plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle A equals 180. Is it right?
Yes.
Then
Yes,
the measure of
teacher.
angle B is 90. The measure of angle A is 60 plus the measure of angle C. Then 90 plus 60 is 150 equals 180. Then by subtracting, as we know before, you will find that the measure of angle C is 30. So by this way here, to find, if I have two sides that they are given, I want to find the measure of the angles. What I have to do, the first angle, I have to know it by the trigonometric ratios, and the second one by the summation of the angles in the triangle. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
It's okay. Now let's have another example. Here we have a right triangle. Now let's see. In this question here, they didn't tell or they didn't sketch for me the triangle. I want now to make it. Let's draw here a right triangle. Now in a right triangle, the side opposite the angle A is 8 millimeter. So if I will say that here we have A, here we have B, and here we have C, the side that is opposite to the angle A, which side I mean? AB or BC? That is opposite to the angle A.
C.
C.
BC, this
BC.
side, which is 8 millimeter long. And the hypotenuse, where's the hypotenuse?
AC.
AC, bravo. The measure of the hypotenuse here is 12. Now, what did I need? I need to find the measure of the angles. Now, the first step here, we know that the measure of the angle B is 90 because I am talking about right triangle. Now let's find now the measure of angle A. Now, the measure of angle A here, how I find it? Look at angle A. I have an opposite and I have the hypotenuse. So let's say that opposite over hypotenuse. Is it right? For the angle A, I have the opposite and the hypotenuse. Now, who can tell me what is the opposite over the hypotenuse?
8/12.
Sine.
10.
Sine.
Sine.
Thank you. So sine A is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Then after that, so after the first step, I wrote which angle I have, which dimensions or which sides I have, A, opposite and hypotenuse. Then opposite over hypotenuse, it will be the sine. So after that, let's now evaluate. What is the measure of the opposite?
8.
8.
It is 8. And the hypotenuse,
12.
it's a 12. So I say
12.
8 after 12 equals sine A. Then after that, let's continue. Sine A is 8 over 12. Now let's divide 8 over 12.
Equals 0.6666.
Yeah, let's say that 8 divided by 2 is 4, divided by 2 is 6, divided by 2 is 3, 2 divided by 2 is 3, so it's 2 over 3, or let's say that it is 0.667. Now, until now, is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
So I found that sine of angle A is 0.667. This is the first step.
Teacher, what's this M is less than A?
No, this is the measure of angle A, I mean. I need to find it.
Okay.
So the first step, I wrote sine A is opposite over hypotenuse. So after that, I found now from these two sides that sine A is 0.667. But I didn't need the sine. I want the measure of, I don't want sine A, I want A. So what I have to do to find A, so I say here that sine A is 0.667. Now I don't want sine of A, I want A. So what I have to do here, I have to use something, we call it inverse. I will say A is sine inverse of this number. So to find A, I will use the inverse sine, this one here. Sine inverse of 0.667. Don't say, be careful. Don't use, I will find by the calculator sine of 0.667. Sine inverse. On the Casio calculator, you have to say shift plus sine. They give me sine inverse.
Teacher, but can I?
The
how
mobile
can I make it?
here, on the mobile here, you have a sign like this upward. Press on it, plus sine, you will give you a sine. A sine, it's mean sine inverse. Yeah, let's try it now. Sine inverse of 0.667. What did you have in your calculators?
41 point.
Bravo.
1.8.
So A, the answer now is 41.8. This 41.8, it's mean the measure of the angle A.
Teacher, I have sine -1. Just sine inverse. The
Sorry?
same button. Teacher, the same of the shape of this button, I have it.
I find it, teacher.
What did you have it, Farah?
No, teacher. After I press the sign of the inverse, teacher, after I press the sign of the inverse, what I will do?
Right,
Of the
0.667.
Okay. Yes, teacher, I got 41.8.
Yeah. So in this one here, I found that the measure of angle A is 41.8. Now, after that, I need to find the measure of angle C. How?
Add also all angles.
Yes,
It's
bravo.
100.
Add all the angles minus 180. So let's say that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C is 180. Now the measure of angle A is 41.8. The measure of angle B is what? What is the measure of angle B?
90.
90.
Plus the measure of angle C equals 180. Let's add them now here. 41.8 plus 90, they are 131.8 plus the measure of angle C is 180. Then let's subtract them here. Minus 131.8 minus 131.8
Equal 48.2.
So the measure of angle C, it will be 48.2 degree. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you, teacher.
Did you get the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Now let's solve other examples here. Find the value of x to the nearest degree. Here we have 5, and we have 10. We need to find the measure of angle x only. So, what we have to do? Let's say that x degree. What did we have? Or which sides I have that are related to the angle x?
10, it's hypotenuse.
I have the hypotenuse,
five
and what
is the-
also?
And 5 is the adjacent.
The adjacent, the brown. So I have both of the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Now, who can tell me what is the adjacent over hypotenuse?
Cosine.
Is it cosine?
Cosine.
So I will write here cosine. Cosine x is adjacent over hypotenuse. Then, what is the adjacent?
5.
It is 5. What is the hypotenuse? It is 10.
10.
Equals cosine x degree. Then after that, so cosine x is 0.5. But what did I need? Did I need to find cosine x? I found it, but I don't want it. I didn't want it. I want x only. So what I have to do?
Cosine inverse.
Yeah, bravo.
Teacher, how did you find 0.5?
Divide 5 over 10.
Okay.
You will get 0.5. Then after that, I need to find x now. So to find x, as you told me, we have to use cosine inverse of 0.5. cosine inverse of 0.5, you will give me, or it will give me x. Yeah, let's find it now. Cosine inverse of 0.5 equals what?
Equals 6.
Equals 60 degree. So the measure of angle x is 60 degree. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher, 60, yes.
Okay.
Clear.
Now, I want you now here to let you understand more and more. Let's come now to this trigonometric table here. Let's see if I don't have calculator, if I have the tables as an example, how can I find the inverse? Now, when I told you cosine of 24, okay, when I told you now the cosine of 24, you tell me, teacher, it is 0.446 or 4.67. Okay, this is the first column here is sine, the second is cosine, and the third is tan. So when I told me find the sine of 14 from the table, what is the sine of 14?
0.2419.
0.2
249.
419. What is the cosine of 15?
0.9659.
Bravo. What is the tan of 17? Angle 17?
0.3057.
Bravo. Now what is the sine of 53?
0.798.
Bravo. That's it. This is if I need to find the cosine of the angles. Now, today, what did we do? Today, we see that we found these numbers, the decimal numbers. As an example, we found that it is 0.5. Now, I will go to that. I need to find cosine inverse. Sorry. I need now to find cosine. I need to find cosine inverse of 0.5 as an example. What did you have to do? As you see here, there's no angle 0.5. So I cannot look at this column here and look at 0.5. I need the cosine inverse. Now what I have to do? I go now to the column of 0.5 of cosine. Okay? Of the cosine. Search about 0.5. Where's 0.5? It is here. Cosine is 0.5. So after I found that here is 0.5, so cosine inverse of 0.5, it will be angle 60. So here I will go back. I have the cosine and I need to find the angle. I go back. So I will come to this angle, to this side here. Look at this side. Find that point. I found 0.5. After I found it here, I say, okay, this is 0.5. This is the cosine. So cosine inverse of 0.5. I'll continue here. I will find it is 60. So I will come to the column of cosine. Look at it here. I found there's where 0.5. So 0.5 it will be angle 60. This is how we use it by the tables. Another example now. As an example, if I told you that the tan inverse of the angle is 0.2679. Yalla. Tan
15.
inverse of 0.2679. Yalla. How did you find it now?
15. It's going to be 15.
Bravo. You will go to the tan inverse, it will be 50. That's what we do on your calculator. In your calculator, you just tell him, I want cosine inverse. They found it. But from where this cosine? Here you have to understand it by the table. In the previous examples, I told you that 54, oh, I need to find the angle of 50, the tan of 54. They told me that it is 1.376. Here, no, here I give you 0.376 or 0.142 as an example. I told you now, so if this 1.42 is the tan, what is tan inverse? You will go to the table and you will find the angle that will be 55. This is how to use it by the table. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, teacher. It's clear.
Okay. Now let's find 32 here. In number 32, what did we have? We have angle X. And what did we have? We have the opposite over what?
Hypotenuse.
Over the hypotenuse. Bravo. Now, what is the opposite over hypotenuse?
Sin.
Sine. Yeah,
Teacher, it's sine.
sine. Bravo. So I said now, sine X is opposite over hypotenuse. Now, where's the opposite?
3.
3. Where is the hypotenuse?
3
and
Square root of 2. Bravo. Equals sine X. Then, so sine X is 3 over 3 square root of 2. So that's our 1 over square root of 2 is sine X. So did I stop here?
No.
No, I need to find X. By using what? What I have to write here?
Sine.
Sine
Inverse is sine.
inverse of
Inverse.
1 over square root of 2.
2.
Yeah. Now, yeah, on your calculator, find sine inverse of 1 over square root of 2.
Teacher, I got it negative 0.024.
No.
I got it, teacher, 45.
Bravo. It will be 45. Now, after the lesson, I tell you on a video how to find it. So what is the measure of angle X?
45.
Yes.
45. Bravo.
How can it didn't work with me?
I will tell you in the videos. I will send it on WhatsApp later how to find it, how to find the sine and the cosine inverse by mobile and by the calculator.
Okay.